AJ
yes, this week.
spent time this week and welded on the mounts and painted it all up. Looks beautiful.
Yep, so front mount right here. And then we've got, I painted a little bit of the frame. And then we got the back rear mounts back there. So the paint will stay shiny for about a year probably.
Probably not even that.
And then
We're gonna go ahead and gusset this up really quick. This is our driver's side mount. We're gonna add a gusset and then paint it, bolt it up, and then engine's going in, right? For the final time.
Well,
we gotta do oil pan.
We'll do the seals, oil pan, and that's it, right?
Yeah, oil pan and rear main seal, and it can go in.
Yeah,
So while you're doing
forgot
this,
we
we'll work on this, but then it can go in for the last time.
Okay. Yeah, that's exciting.
We bought an oil pickup tube for the rear sump oil pan, and it just didn't quite fit, so we just warmed it up a little bit and bent it down to clear the pan and get to the bottom of the pan. And now it's time for the oil pan to go on. So now let's touch this smoking hot oil pickup tube and put the new gasket in there. Okay. Because there's a joint here, there's the rear main seal and the engine, we want to put just a dab. You don't have to go crazy. Just a dab of black silicone, or any silicone, to help seal, because that can leak. Same thing with up here where you got the front cover, just ever so slightly. The gasket's going to seal, but you just want to give it just a little bit extra to prevent any leaks. Doesn't have to be crazy, doesn't have to squeeze out 1/4 inch all the way around, just a tiny little bit. And then something else that works kind of nice is if you put a few dabs on your pan, it kind of holds your gasket in place. It makes a little bit, ooh, that's a lot. Makes it a little bit easier to put up without the gasket falling off. Again, you don't need to go crazy. AJ would go crazy at this time.
You know what I'm going crazy about?
That's the fact that we don't have donuts.
Arrangement. That too. I feel really sad. Like my muscle memory right now is like, I need a donut. Putting on the valve cover gaskets, and this is our rear heater hose hookup.
Too big.
It's too big right now, so we're gonna do an adapter to go to a smaller size.
All right, engine is in and bolted up. Clutch was installed before we put the engine in. It's time to see if we can cram this massive 7-speed on the back of our Cummins. It's gonna be tight, but let's see how it goes.
It's gonna be a task, that's for sure.
So this sharp corner on the cab is inhibiting us from getting the transmission into the clutch. There we go. So we're gonna take a small corner out. Okay, right there, now go up. This camera's probably really not catching it. After a little bit of struggle, we got the transmission up in and is hanging on the back of the engine as planned. We only had that one clearance issue. We had to do a little bit of cutting up here to get it in, but as you can see, we really don't have that bad of clearance issues. It fits like it's supposed to be there. So this truck came factory with vacuum brakes, which is ridiculous, and because diesel doesn't make vacuum, And not only that, we need the space, because that massive booster down there on the floor just took up way too much room. There you go. So we're replacing it with Hydro Boost, which runs on power steering fluid and takes up a lot less space, so then we don't need vacuum. So we're getting that switched out. Test fitting the front end on the engine. The engine is sitting in its place. It's permanently bolted in. We've got the diesel radiator, AC condenser, intercooler, and core support in. Seeing that we have plenty of room for an actual fan in here, we weren't sure on that one. But we do have a 2-inch lift we're going to put on the front to try and get the front end back up where it was before. But we are now to the point of hooking up power steering lines, electrical connectors, and getting ready to make this thing run. So another productive day. AJ is working on adapters. We put a 2.5 inch lift in the front of this to help compensate for the extra weight. There you go. And like always, they don't fit, so we have to modify them.
Bolt on.
Yeah, bolt on. But we've got the front end kind of mocked up, so we can start figuring out hoses and all that kind of stuff, and it's actually fitting really well. We had to get a 6.4 radiator, AC condenser, intercooler, and it does work with our core support. The 5.4 upper radiator hose with a little modification actually works okay. Working on our wiring, and next time we should be able to start this thing up for the first time. Oh, and the transmission is in and bolted up too. So
that's exciting.
Yeah. Next
Honestly,
time.
I feel like we did more today than I was expecting.
Yeah, we had a lot of sitting around, but it was a lot. There's a lot of figuring now.
For sure.
Special parts and customization and all that. Yeah. So I felt like today was pretty decent.
Well, at this point, we'll just get everything going on the engine, hooked up, and then driveline will be the next big.
Yeah. Once we get it running, we get all that stuff, then we'll focus on the driveline. Yeah. I think that'll be the best thing to do.